All right, just give it another second for anybody popping on. Things are always moving and changing, and so trying to figure out waiting rooms and everything else like that. Make sure it's all in the same place it's supposed to be. Go. Hi, Adam. All right. How are you?
Good, yourself?
Doing well. I'm gonna get it started here. I had a couple people tell me that they are gonna catch the replays because obviously 1 o'clock on a Thursday could be busy at times.
Yeah. It's like I saw the the update. I'm like, oh, I have a Zoom call. I'm like, did I schedule a Zoom call? I'm like, no. I'm like, sometimes we forget all the things we signed up for and stuff like that. And I know Tristan sends me a ton of stuff all the time too.
Oh,
So
yep, all the time. It's all right. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Jordan.
How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Having a good day
good.
so far.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get started. People can catch the replay, jump on later, do whatever they need to do. Today is going to be actually fairly short, so if you had a lot of time blocked off, you're in luck. You can go get a snack or something after we're done here. But I'm just want to start off with a word of prayer. Dear God, just pray that you bless everybody that hears these words. Just help them hear the words that they have that I'm to say, that you have for me to say, and just pray that you're going to bless them exceedingly abundantly more than they could ever imagine. Amen. So I want to first go over and review the previous 2 days. Day one was awareness. I wanted you guys to sit down, like I always do, sit down with your journal, really feel where you're at and also where you want to be and where you're going. That final standard that you want, it could be 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, your ultimate, 20-year vision, but really feel what that is like and then help you be that person now to be able to get to that point because multimillionaires they act a certain way, whether they have the millions of dollars or not. And it's who they are that really is allowing them to have that lifestyle. Um, and I also want anybody that has gone through it to commend you for being vulnerable, uh, or sitting down and realizing where you are can be tough at times. You could be further along, which is great, but sometimes we're not quite as far as we thought we were. And so it could be kind of a gut check moment. So just want to commend you guys for doing that. Day two was aim, how to set targets. Uh, and some people like myself, ADHD, I set a lot of slow targets or low targets that I can hit fast because it can kind of help propel me down the route. There's other people where it's like, you know what? I have my one target in aim, like a sniper, and they just are aiming that, dialing that in, and that's just what they're going for. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. There's really no right way of doing anything. And it all depends on your style and the way your personality is. But I really find that, especially yesterday and today, it all comes down to faith. And whenever you're setting these targets, whenever you start hitting them, then it helps grow your faith. Kind of like it talks about in the Bible, how the mustard seed is the smallest plant or the smallest seed, but as it grows, it becomes the biggest plant in the garden. So as you start hitting targets, then that faith is starting to well up inside you and start growing. Kind of like when we start off in chiropractic or any business, or you don't make that first sale, and even if it's a small one, then you start getting more and more faith in yourself and what you're doing, and then that helps that expand and explode. So again, it all really depends on personality. I'm a small target guy, set lots of small targets, and those will then end up leading to that bigger ultimate goal that I was looking at, that standard that I was wanting to live at. And today we are going to step into action. And that is the do part of the be, do, have. The have is the ultimate thing that we're going to get, receive. But right now is the do part, where we're actually going to do something in order to get there. And myself, my personality, I try to keep things as simple as possible. So I try not to get caught in the weeds. I've done a lot of goal setting courses and things like that. And it always seems like once you really start narrowing it down and they talk to you and you start going through their steps, it's like too many steps for me. It's way too much information trying to go, okay, well, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to wake up and drink a gallon of water. And then at 6:05, I'm going to go to the bathroom from all the water. And then 6:12, then like, I like to keep it simple. So instead of 100,000 different steps throughout the day that I'm going to do in order to move towards that target, I like to create it almost. We are the child of the creator, the ultimate creator. And in the Bible, it talks about these things you shall also do, and even greater, when it talks to like healing and things like that. So I look at miracles as magic, and being able to sit down and decide, you know what? I'm not going to put a timeline on how fast it's going to take to reach this target. I am instead going to sit down and think of the craziest ways that that target can be reached. So if it's, wanting to lose 15 pounds, oh, I can go on a diet. I could do fasting for 30 days. I mean, Jesus did 40, so I can get at least 15 to 30. Um, and then you know what? You'll lose that weight. And it's not necessarily as unhealthy as people used to say it is. There's lots of research now saying that, showing how good fasting is for you. Or if you one of your targets is, $10,000 a month. Well, who's to say that the 3 days into your month, someone comes in and says, you know what, you've done amazing things. I want to give you $8,000 for 2 years of care, or however you want to do it. Like, just come up with the craziest off the wall things you can think of as to help you reach that target. And I find that whenever I do that, it helps really reduce my stress levels about trying to reach the target itself, because that creation has already started coming out in you. It's also why I like journaling, because whenever you're spelling those words out, you are creating something from nothing. Um, and so I also find that this is where the faith and belief can begin, because you start seeing these things start popping up and you're like, oh, I never thought about that. Oh, and it's just kind of like reassurance of things that are going on in your life. Kind of like this, for example. Um, so I've been throwing around the ideas. If I was wanting to do something like this, I'm not really comfortable on camera, really talking in groups or anything else like that. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to trust God that this is what is going to happen. And on Tuesday, the verse of the day in the Bible app was, the one who says he abides in him ought himself to walk in the same manner as he walked. And it was like, okay, for me, that was, Jesus went out and he served his purpose. Well, if this is what I feel like my purpose is, I need to start doing these things. And then yesterday it was, the heart of a man plans his way, but Yahweh directs his steps. Kind of like this action thing that we were getting into. Like, we're planning, we setting our aims and our targets, and then God is the one that's going to direct our steps to do that, which is also another reason why these action steps in one way, it's almost irrelevant. As long as we're showing ourselves faithful to what God's saying, then those steps are going to be taken. And then today's uh, verse is one I have all over the place is, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace, not calamity, to give you a future and a hope. And I mean, 365 days out of the year, they're sending out these Bible verses, and that happens to be the one today where God says he has the plans and purpose for you, and we just have to have faith in him and to walk it out. And so, like I said, the action steps, it's kind of almost anti-action steps where sometimes it feels like it doesn't make sense. Take, for example, whenever I come up with a decision, I usually take a nap where instead of getting stressed up out about it, I think about it, I pray about it, and then I take a nap and let my subconscious and God talk to it and be able to figure out, okay, this is the way I need to go. And 9 times out of 10, when I wake up, I have my answer of what I need to do. So exactly like Elijah. Um, so it's not always going to make sense, the actions that we take, especially whenever we start trusting God. There's a guy online, his name is Jamie Winship. He's a pastor. He used to be an FBI detective, but he tells stories of like he had caught a guy in the act of a crime. He like assaulted a police officer, and as he was taking him to jail, he heard God tell him to let the guy go. He's like, "How? What do you mean let the guy go?" And he let the guy go, and the guy turned around and contacted him the next day, and they like made some extraordinary number of busts of the higher up level guys just because he didn't think, oh, that's something that's odd, and just keep moving forward. He actually listened to that voice that said, hey, let this guy go, and he was blessed from it. So the steps, like I said, won't always make sense, but as you start again making those little micro steps, start hitting those targets, start building that faith, you're going to realize that some of the things that don't seem like they make sense um, are going to be the things that give you the greatest leaps and bounds. It's using the simple things to confound the wise. Um, but there's also some people's personalities where they have to have steps throughout their day to help them function. And I like to look at the Atomic Habits style of um, like targets, hitting targets, and throughout our days and our action steps, where you're trying to find the smallest thing that you can do that moves that needle, because then that'll lead into more and more things. So again, I'm not big into the 100-step list of things you have to do throughout the day. I find that as my faith has increased, that I actually have to do less as far as the action steps that I have planned out. Um, but we all start at somewhere, whatever works for you. But I just want to give another example. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I moved into a house. Well, we bought a house, and for about 4.5 years, you might have read this on an email I sent out recently. 4.5 years, we've had property that we've been trying to build on, and we went through 5 or 6 different builders, and communication fall apart for one reason or another. And we just kept going and trying to force it and force it and force it, and things just weren't happening. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks, well, I guess 4 or 5 weeks now ago, I had done a fast, a 5-day water fast, going, God, what is this direction you want us to go? Because we had yet another contractor fall through. And whenever I was breaking my fast with some broth, my wife said, hey, there's this house I think we should go look at. And we found out that people that hooked me and her up on a blind date lived next door with the next door neighbors. So we contacted them, and he said, oh yeah, we have a key. So why don't you come on over and take a look? So we didn't even go through a realtor or anything. We were looking at this house. And then my wife said, you know what? I kind of like it. And up until this point, she was adamant about we were building on our property, and she wasn't looking at any houses that came on the market or anything. So we said, sure, let's take a look at it. And when we looked at it, she said, I think I like it. And so we put an offer in, and the next day they accepted the offer. And it's just like, if we kept forcing the issue, if we had stopped surrendering and just allowed those different action steps to occur, it never would have happened. This house would have got sold to somebody else, and we'd be continuing to try to build on a house or property that, for whatever reason, God just said isn't ours. And so, like I said, it's could be kind of crazy how things go and the speed at which these things happen when we decide to start putting our faith in God and truly trusting Him and stop stressing ourselves out over the day-to-day things, especially with social media and everything. It's really easy to get caught up in it. But being able to take a step back, journal, it slows our mind down because we have to be able to keep up with what we're thinking about and really be able to create the life that you've always wanted, because God has put that thought and that purpose and those plans in your life for a reason. So really, that's it. I thank you guys for being here today. Uh, I am going to be launching, for those that want some accountability, 12-month, 52-week email accountability program beginning of next year. I'll be sending out an email about that later on today, just to help keep us uh, accountable for what we say we want and what we're trying to move towards. But if you have any questions, anything you need, please reach out. I'm here for you at any time. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.